Oh man, I'm so late. Oh shit, we're live. We're live. Hold on. Here we go.
There's a podcast called Between Two Slabs. They consume mass media. It seems so sad. It's the great curator and Merlin. They can't grow pubes, so they gotta wear a merkin. They got no money, so I guess they gotta share. Just two nerds wishing they could grow body hair. Comics, cards, and toys, nothing that would interest you. It's the podcast that nobody listens to.
All right, I made it, guys.
I think you showed the wrong intro.
Did I?
Yeah.
That's the only one we have. Wait, here we go. The wrong one. Forget it.
No, it's the revised.
I don't have
intro.
the other
It's
one.
okay.
I don't have the
It's
other one.
okay.
You haven't put it in here yet. But anyways,
I did. You played it actually Saturday.
where is it?
Don't worry. We can't play it twice now.
Not it.
Oh gosh, now you're having way too much fun. Gosh.
Okay. So sorry,
you're still in Texas?
Yes, still in
Okay,
Texas.
that's what I figured.
Taking time out of my busy schedule to jump on here and talk to you. Lots to talk about, man. I got a lot of stuff on my mind, a lot of news going on. I see we already have a good amount of people.
And were you the last to leave on Sunday at the Dallas Card Show?
Of course I am. I'm always the last to leave. I'm the hardest working man in the hobby. Okay, so let's just get straight into this, okay? We got no time to waste. Otherwise, we're going to be here for like 2 hours, 3 hours tonight.
Oh, you love it.
Okay. News, obviously.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. PWCC being acquired. Now, we forecasted this on our live Saturday. For those of you who watched us on our live, we were kind of talking about this, saying that PWCC was in trouble and that left them open for something to happen to them. We weren't sure what it was going to be. Sure enough, Monday, Fanatics announces their acquisition of PWCC. Okay. I've got some thoughts on this. I'm going to share with you, Merlin.
Okay.
First of all, I mean, there's different sides to look at this here. Okay. Side number one, as far as like how PWCC operates, I don't think anything will change. You know, if anything, they'll get better. They'll get more efficient at what they're doing. But you know, it's probably a good thing. You know, I think they were having some problems with some loans that they had out there, outstanding loan issues. So this kind of resolves that. So now PWCC can just go on as business as usual. So that's good for them. I think it also puts a lot of power and resources behind that company and allows them to maybe be the leader in the marketplace going forward, you know? So who knows? I think for Fanatics, it's another infinity stone in their gauntlet to control the hobby world. Basically, Michael Rubin is, at first I thought like, what's that guy's name? Nat Turner was going to be like the fan of the hobby and control everything. But now Michael Rubin has come in and now he's basically taking over everything. The only thing they're really missing is they're only really missing grading. So it's just a matter of time before they acquire some type of grading company. I don't think it'd be PSA, but if they have
something like CSG,
it could be CSG, it could be Beckett. You know, Beckett would be the perfect one to acquire because they're so like far behind everybody else, and they got such a big name. But that's what they need. But they're building an ecosystem. They want to control everything in the hobby. They want to have a monopoly on everything. So you know, it's a play. I think on the lower level for people like us, like people that just kind of play around in the hobby, it's not going to affect us at all. If anything, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because these companies, they're consolidating essentially. So, you know, they can combine resources and everything can be a little bit more smooth in that regard. But the one thing I wanted to say about the one thing I really want to talk about this is how did PWCC get themselves into this mess? Right? We know apparently the story is that they had outstanding loans from their card loan program that they did last year. I don't know if you remember that, Merlin, but do you remember all the marketing they did behind that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, because I am a member of PWCC and I have an
Like they were
account and
saying
I
that,
have stuff
yeah, they
in their
were
vault.
loading.
So I know.
What was the amount? I don't even know what the amount that they're loaning, like 50% of the card's value or something.
Yeah, I
like
don't
that.
know the exact amount.
You know,
But this almost sounds like the Silicon Valley Bank thing, but in like the card hobby world.
they were over leveraged. They were over leveraged on that. I don't know. I heard the amount $70 million. That's what I heard.
70 mil. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, because I mean, if they were like, I mean, PWCC is a huge company. They got a lot of money. So it was like $5-10 million. I don't think that would be enough for them to get acquired.
Right.
For something like that. But I think I heard on Jeff Wilson, Sports Card Investor, he said like 70 million, something like that.
Jeez.
But I think this is the real interesting point of this whole story that people are overlooking. Okay, is that PWCC, among other companies out there, they're not the only one that did this. They offered loans on their cards, which I think is a huge mistake, right?
Why?
I made a video about this like over a year ago because you remember there was another guy, I forget what he called himself, like Card Fi or Card Finance or something like that. The guy Eddie, right? You remember that dude Eddie?
Oh,
It's live. We're live. You know that dude? He's not around anymore. I don't know where he is. He had a company. He used to go to shows and he used to loan money to people to buy cards. You remember that company?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah, I kind of remember now. Yes.
Yeah, I forget
what happened to that guy.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against that dude. I kind of ran. I talked to him a few times. Limited interactions. Nothing against him personally, but I just think that practice of loaning against cards when card values can fluctuate dramatically within months was just a bad business play all around. And I made a video about it a long time ago. I remember telling people about this when they were first trying to do it. And, it just shows you like even a company like PWCC is as big and as much money they have and as many resources as they have, they even kind of got themselves in trouble with that. If all this is to be believed, right? If they did default on those loans, but yeah, man, it's crazy because like I feel like this could be, if we talk about it more, this could be a real lesson learned in the hobby. You know what I mean? Like the last 3 years, the hobby has been really trying to essentially copy like the stock market. You know what I mean? In terms of like flipping cards, day trading, moving everything digitally, marketplaces online, loans on your stuff and things like that. And it just doesn't work the same way. The principle, the business model doesn't really apply to the card hobby. I believe so. You know what I mean? But that's just kind of what I think is the biggest takeaway from this is like you can't take loans on your cards. You can't use your cards necessarily as collateral to do things like that. I actually had a friend. I want to get your thoughts on this, but I'll just tell you this little story as an example, as a cautionary tale. Okay. I had a friend who had some really high figure cards, like 6-figure cards. And he got swept up in this whole thing, right? Where he would give PWCC his card,
okay,
a 50% loan on it, take that money, go buy another card, try to flip it, and just keep repeating, right? And it was working in the beginning.
Okay. Yeah.
It was working in the beginning, but I don't know if he kept up with it or not, but at some point PWCC called those loans in on him. He had like $90,000 in loans that they called in on him. And luckily this dude, when I talked to him about it, he said he had the money, but the impression I got from him, it was like he was surprised. You know what I mean?
He was surprised of what?
Because he was surprised that they called the loan in on him. Okay. And the way that he described it to me is that you know, they had like a 90-day loan, which is a very high interest rate. But at the end of the 90 days, they would renew the loan. As long as you kept paying the interest on that, you were good, right?
Just
But
like a credit card?
I don't know. I don't know the details. I didn't want to get into it.
Okay.
It's a sensitive subject,
Okay.
you know, so I didn't want to get into the guy's business. But he said that at some point they did not renew the 90-day period and they called in the loan, which luckily for him, he had money. But I bet you a lot of people didn't have money.
So what happens? They lose the card?
Yes, you have to sell the card.
Like, but how long do they give you?
I don't know the details.
Or is it something you just work out with them?
I don't know the details of it, and I don't think it's worth speculating on, but that's how it would work, right? If they called in the loan and you can't pay the loan, they sell your card. And what probably happened was, you know, if your card was more valuable, you would probably try to pay off the loan. But if your card was not as valuable, you sell the card and the company would probably lose money, you know? And that's probably a big part of what happened to them, I think. But
yeah, it sounds like a very high risk.
Yes, very high risk, and that's
why I never did it.
That's a different point that we can get into, right? If you guys have comments on this, but I've been talking for a long time. Your thoughts?
It just sounds dangerous on both ends, as the consumer and as PWCC. It's like gambling. It's like taking more money and then going bet on the horses, and then taking that money again and then doubling up on it. So, I mean, every time you're taking a huge risk, I'd never want to get involved with stuff like that. I'm more conservative when it comes that way. I'd rather already have the money. And again, that could cost the loaner a lot of money too. That's a huge risk on them, especially with a card.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where lose their houses doing stuff like this. It's crazy.
I'll tell you where this principle comes from. This principle comes from like with stocks, right? If you have a large portfolio of stocks, like let's just say your stocks, you have like $200,000 in stocks. You can go get a loan based on your stocks. It's called a security-based loan or a line of credit. Security-based line of credit. And they'll loan you like 50% of your stock value. Right? So they'll give you $100,000. And what people do, they take that money and they spend it. Usually they invest it on something that can make them more than whatever the interest rate is. And the interest rate is usually only like 5%, you know, something like that, 5%. It's in line with what a loan would be. Right? But the thing about stocks is like the stock market is very regulated where stocks really can't drop a certain percentage in a short period of time without something happening where they try to control it. Where with cards, you could lose, you know, if you get a bad comp or something, if you send something to auction, you could lose like 50% value within, you know, one day on something like that and cause a big problem.
So do you think that's what's happens then? So then they auction off the card and whatever the card went auction for, that's going to go towards the loan you owe.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how it works, right?
Because so if you thought you had a $10,000 card and it only sold for $100, then you've only paid $100 off that loan.
Yeah, but the company, you know, you're probably not going to pay the loan either. You're probably not going to pay that loan off, and then the company has to take a loss on it. The idea.
So PWCC rather gamble on you being able to pay that back versus not being able to pay it back.
Yeah.
Because I thought some places rather gamble of you not being able to afford to pay it back.
Like a real estate loan?
Yeah.
I guess so, but I guess if you looked at it from that perspective, it might sound good, right? If this guy doesn't pay back his loan, I get his cards. But what do you do when the cards are not worth as much? That's a problem, right?
I mean, they could have done this loan during the pandemic, and then when everything kind of like dropped after that, and you've already taken that loan, then it's not worth as much anymore.
Yeah, card values
a year later.
Card values have dropped dramatically in the last year. probably more than they anticipated, to be honest.
Yes.
And that's probably what got them in this situation. But I think, okay, I don't want to like get too crazy into this. We've been talking about it for 15 minutes now. We got a lot to talk
I just want to
about.
understand it, man, because it sounds crazy. I never want to do it, but I want to understand it.
I think it's very important to understand these things too, because you're going to get copycats. You're going to get people like, I think, okay, somebody told his name, Investacard, right?
Yes.
People trying to do businesses and they try to do these things. So I think it's me personally, I don't see how it could work at all. Okay. How it could be beneficial for both parties, but I'm sure there will be companies that will try to like try to perfect this business model. So I think it's worthwhile to just kind of analyze what happened with PWCC to kind of make sure that if there are other businesses that pop up and try to do this, that they don't find themselves in the same position. You know what I mean? And for me, I just don't see how something like that works, for what they were trying to do. Maybe one day. I mean, I guess like if you had like a Mickey Mantle rookie card,
that
was very desirable, and it's not going to drop in value. Yeah, you could take a loan on it the same way you would take a loan on a valuable piece of art, or something of that caliber, like tier 1 cards. But if you're trying to take loans out on, I don't know, some prospect that people are really high on, or like a John Morant card or something like that.
Whew, yeah. Your money's flying out like him at a strip club.
That's really risky, you know what I mean? And I remember being at different card shows like Dallas Card Show, and I remember seeing conference rooms where companies like Alt or PWCC would have buyers or people in there, and people would go in there to try to get cash advances on their cards to go to auction, or they try to get loans on their cards, things like that. And there was like a line out the door. It was just like, it was crazy. I suspect that these companies had a lot of venture capital money that they didn't know what to do with.
Yeah, sounds like it.
They had probably investors that gave them tons of money, and they were just looking for somewhere to put that money to try to get some type of return on it. And they were doing like risky things like that. And I think that's what kind of got them in trouble.
So what will Fanatics do now that they own PWCC?
I mean,
how do you clean it up?
I don't know. That's a corporate thing. They probably have a person that goes in there and trims the fat, and then they'll incorporate them into their process. They'll probably let them operate on their own and everything like that, but they'll slowly incorporate them into their process, and then they'll just be a part of Fanatics, and I'm sure they'll do really well. And they've got all the money in the world now, they've got all the resources in the world. But whoever owned PWCC before, they just kind of lost control of their company.
Yeah. So I wonder if they'll keep the name PWCC.
I'm sure they will. I think there's value in that brand name, PWCC. Okay. So, and what I learned, PWCC stands for like pre-war something.
Really?
Pre-war something cards. PWCC.
Collecting cards?
Pre-war cards or something like that. Yeah, it was started by some dude, just like Probstein. He was started by some guy on eBay, and he just grew it into this huge company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, there they said, Adrian says pre-war card collector.
Yeah, Adrian. Okay, so that's it. So that's what it is. Okay, let's not get too carried away here. So that was the big news. We'll talk about it for a little bit. People will make videos about this. I'm sure all those guys, those watchdogs or whatever, will make videos trying to analyze this, and then in about a week, we'll move on to the next crazy thing that happens in the hobby.
So if Fanatics starts buying everything, they end up buying a grading company even. Now they've got all their hands in every cookie jar. Is that kosher? I mean, is that a monopoly or what? Are they allowed to do that?
There's no regulation in the hobby. They can do whatever they want.
Really?
That's the thing here, right? There's no regulation in the hobby because it's a hobby that blew up into a full-on market.
Yes.
business market. So Fanatics, they're going in there and they're doing everything they can to grab every piece of the pie that they can until something happens, right? And like I don't know if like anybody would ever try to regulate the hobby in any way. I'm sure they would at some point if there's enough money involved, and if there's like
I feel like there is.
then it's gonna happen. But until then, they could just like establish themselves as the king of the hobby, basically, and take over everything. So, and that's what they're doing. So, anyways, interesting stuff. Anything else before we close this out?
No, I'd just be interested to see where this goes, and hopefully my cards in the vault are safe. That's all I care about.
Everything's gonna be safe. Everything's
okay, good.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything's fine on a consumer level.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be fine.
Okay, good.
I have complete confidence in that. On a high business level, things are gonna change, but we don't. It's just gossip to us. It's just something interesting to talk about. But it's not really gonna, affect us in any way. I don't think so. Anyways. Okay, so that's one thing. All right, next thing we need to talk about Dallas Card Show. What's your impressions?
Still a lot of fun. Lots of people there. Trade nights are the biggest of any card show there ever is. But compared to January and the March show, sales were okay. And people really didn't bring me much either this time, last two shows, but still
we have to talk about this.
What?
Okay. Do you think that is a result of your choice to bring only wrestling cards?
It could be. Yeah.
Right?
I was just doing an experiment. That was my choice.
People don't know. You usually bring
everything.
Wrestling.
Yeah. Pop culture.
Music.
Yeah, like celebrities. Yep.
Star Wars, and then you've got like a mix of like sports and Marvel and just weird stuff, like the miscellaneous stuff, right? So usually you usually bring like everything.
Yes.
Essentially.
Well, I took a gamble, brought the wrestling, and guess what? Most of my wrestling clients weren't there this weekend. Didn't show up.
So
that kind of hurt.
You think that was a mistake?
It could be.
Would you ever do that again?
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I feel like this. If you have all wrestling and people aren't there to buy wrestling, they're going to pass over you. But also, people are not going to bring you anything but wrestling cards.
Yes.
Right?
True. And that is true.
Did anybody try to bring you anything else? Really?
No, just wrestling cards.
But you did get lucky because Renee, a reality star from Storage
Bargain Hunters and Storage Wars.
Yeah, Renee came by and bought out your
low end cards.
Your shoe
super
box,
low end. I just brought because I had like 2 shoe boxes that I normally don't bring, and I just threw those in my suitcase because I didn't care. There was a lot of raw cards just in one touches, and there was just 2 shoe boxes, and I just threw them up. And as soon as I threw them up there, he showed up.
And that was a big.
He goes, "I'll give you an X amount for all this," and I was like,
"That was like over $2,000."
Yeah, definitely.
You didn't have to carry 30 pounds of cards back home.
Yeah, because you saw me like the last 3 shows I've done. That's the Burbank and both Dallas shows. That I was buying lots of wrestling cards from people, just lots. You saw me like stacks.
Honestly, I thought you were being too aggressive with the buying.
Yeah.
It's okay because you had a lot of wrestling inventory, but
sometimes you got to do it, man. That's how you get cheap stuff.
And here's something I didn't talk to you about, but I think that this might be this might turn into something bigger than you realize because Renee, he does Whatnot and he sells a lot of stuff.
Yes,
like he bought a lot of cards. So
this whole weekend, I watched his videos.
Yeah. So by you giving him that deal, he bought. So if people don't know. He basically bought your cards for like $20 a slab and $10 a one touch, right?
One touch, yes.
And I'm sure you had those marked up higher, like $50 or whatever it is.
Yeah, right? It was just like higher end cards I saw in in my boxes, and then the graded slabs were the ones that came back from bulk that are like PSA 6.
You probably had at least 200 cards there?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? So you made the choice, and this is a good lesson for you guys if you ever set up a card shows. You made the choice to take less cash up front in order to pass off the work to somebody else.
Yes.
Right? Like those boxes, probably maybe what, $4,000?
Probably, yeah. I could have probably made more money if I sent them to ComC or something.
Right? Like $400 to $4,500, but you took like what, $2,500, something like that.
Yeah, a little more than that, 2,500.
Yeah. So you gave a lot of upside to him, but he's got to go out and sell 200 plus cards.
Right.
Right. He's got to go ship those cards to somebody if he's doing it and whatnot. The transaction took like 5 minutes.
Yes.
So you're basically,
and we shot content together.
Yes, and you're almost buying your time back by just offloading that to somebody else to do the work. So that, I think, is a good lesson for people. Like, you don't always have to squeeze out top dollar for your cards, right? If you find an opportunity to offload it, there is value in moving something quick and getting the money and doing something else with it versus trying to sell it one by one, selling in bulk. So that is the strategy that
it could have taken all year to sell all those cards.
Yes. And then 2 things came out of that too that I want to highlight here. Number one, you shot some content with him. And
on my end and his end.
Yeah. And he has a large social media presence, and that content kind of went viral, right?
Yes.
So you got more followers on Instagram and YouTube from that, and that was a big pop. Because I know you were happy about that. You were like, all weekend, look at this, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views, 100 new followers.
I got over 20,000 views on Instagram and like 2,000 to 4,000 on YouTube on the shorts.
Yeah. So if we look at it, like, I'm just using round numbers here. I'm sure it's not exact, but let's just say your box was worth $5,000.
Yes, let's say that.
And you got $2,500 back.
Yes.
Right. So in theory, you gave up $2,500 of potential profit, but you don't have to do any of that work to move it. You probably got more than $2,500 of marketing value for your brand, Merleworld cards, from that exposure. And then here's the other highlight I think was very interesting here. And to be honest, I was super jealous. Okay. I was like, that bastard, why is he buying all his junk cards? Why isn't he buying my junk cards? Right. But here's the thing. I think he lives in like Southern California, and he said to you, I overheard it. He said, if you have more stuff, I will go to you in LA and I will buy out all your stuff because I can move these things very quickly with my whatnot.
Yeah. I see Renee all the time. And I'm here in California.
I'm looking at you, and I'm looking at all those boxes behind you. Those ugly boxes that everybody complains about in your background. You could move all that stuff to Renee at some point, hopefully, right? And that could,
a few of them.
Yeah, and do a deal and save yourself some time. So just the connection, the connection, the marketing exposure, and the time that you save, I think that you're probably going to come out way ahead of that deal on that deal.
Yeah, I just watched Renee's video he posted on YouTube on day 2 of Bargain Hunters, and we do like a 5-minute clip scene together.
Yeah. And
so
these
he
are the
plugs me and
relationships
everything.
you want to build. With people like that spend money and that go to shows. Like, he's the real deal. Renee, he's not like they're doing reality star shit.
Oh, yeah, because there was people at the card show who had never seen him at a show. I guess this is one of his first times he's been to the Dallas card show. And people were like, oh, my God, I saw Renee from Bargain Hunters. I asked him to take a photo with him. And he's like, sure. And all these people were excited. I was like, over Renee? Like, he's crazy.
He's a real card person. He knows his stuff. So to do that first deal with him and build a relationship, I'm sure it's going to lead to many more deals down the line. So I think you're going to benefit from that. So I think that's a great takeaway from this week's show. I mean, the Dallas card show, that example right there.
Yeah, he already reached out to me on Instagram and wanted my 401 so we can communicate outside of Instagram. So
that's cool. That's
great.
Cool. Good. My impressions real quick at the Dallas card show. I mean, it was it was a good show for me. It wasn't like, I didn't like break the bank or anything like that. I had 2 things. There's 3 things that I want to talk about. Okay.
Yes.
Number 1 is I passed up a deal that is going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
Do I remember what this deal was?
You were not there looking. I don't think you were there watching it.
Yeah.
But I told you about it. So some guy came up to me and he brought me 2 Simpson cards, 2 Simpson sketch cards called Art the Bart
Yes,
cards.
you told me.
These cards are extremely rare, guys, and I love the Simpsons. But there's not much to collect for Simpson cards, to be honest. Okay, but I love the Simpsons, and that card is the holy grail of Simpsons cards. And this dude brought 2 of them to my table.
Yeah, and the thing is, Dan, I didn't realize that the Art DeBart cards, the sketch cards, are all different.
They're all different.
I never realized that. So I saw them all like together.
Some of them are the same.
Yeah, or similar, but still, they're really a sketch card. So each one is different in its own aspect.
Some of them are very unique.
Yes.
And he brought me 2 very unique ones.
Yes.
One of them was like a Bartman card, and the other one was Bart, and it said like, "What the hell are you looking at, man?" And he brought these to me, and he wanted $8,000 and $10,000 for each of them, for each card, $8,000, $10,000, something like that. And he was very nice. He let me look at them. I took pictures, and this was at the beginning of the show on Friday. This is like one of the first guys I talked to, so I was kind of like not ready to see a card like that. To be honest, I was like taken aback. I was like, "Oh my God, you got 2 of these?" And he said, "I'd be interested to do a trade, maybe half cash, half trade." So I'm thinking to myself, okay, $5,000 cash, $5,000 trade. So I tried to get him to like pick a couple cards out, but he was kind of like looking around. But we didn't really have a serious conversation. And then I told him, I said, I gave him the line everybody gives, right? Let me sell some stuff, come back, and we'll make a deal, right?
Right.
And he said, "Yeah, no problem, whatever." And then he left, and he never came back that day. And as soon, like 1 hour after he left, I realized, oh my God, I let those cards slip through my hands. Why? I don't even know where he's from, like Kentucky or something like that. Some crazy place. I don't know. Like, I've never met this guy before. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know my social media. He just randomly walked up to me, and I waited for him the whole weekend to come back Saturday, Sunday, to try to work a deal with him, and he never came back. So I feel like those cards slipped through my hands, and if I ever see those cards again, I'm probably gonna have to bid on some auction and pay like $12,000 to $15,000 for them with buyer premium or something like that. But I let it slip through my hands, so that was painful, and lesson learned for me. That if you see a card that you like, right? If you see a rare card that you're not gonna find again, you can't let that card go. Okay, you gotta try your best, even if you can't actually get it. You gotta try your best to make a deal. Don't assume that somebody's gonna come back to your table.
Yeah, I know, right?
The vendor.
It's happened to so many. I hate when they come the first day, though, in the morning.
Yes,
and you really don't have any money whatsoever.
That's what happened. So
you're like, this is the worst time you come at the very beginning of the show.
If you set up as a vendor, don't assume anybody will ever come back to your table. If they say, "Oh, let me walk around a little bit. Let me think about it. Let me sell some stuff, whatever." Don't assume that. If somebody comes with you with a rare card that you've never seen before, you're not going to see it again. Try your best to get it. Otherwise, you're going to be like me and just kick yourself and just say, "Damn it, why didn't I just like do something? Why couldn't I do this or offer him this or whatever," right? Try to work a deal somehow. And I missed out on it. So that sucks. But
I know you don't want me to rub this in, but I almost think those cards are going to be one of the biggest holy grails of pop culture cards. And I really see those cards somewhere down, like in a few years, probably being like $100,000 cards.
I know.
The Simpsons.
And I would have loved to have those cards because they're different. Like we said, they're different. And I really love the ones that he had. And man, if you're watching this dude, if you're out there, I think he's from like Kentucky or South Carolina or somewhere in the South, right? If you're out there, please contact me. Let's talk. Okay. And we'll work out a deal. If you have the Art the Bart cards, please let me know. Because I wish you would have come back to my table. But so that was one thing that stuck out to me that I wish I could have back. Second thing I want to talk about the Dallas Card Show. Somehow it seemed to have gotten bigger than last time.
But less tables.
Like They expanded to a different room. PSA was at the Dallas Card Show grading cards. They've never done that before.
Right.
And then their trade night has turned into a full-blown card show.
Yeah, it was sponsored by PSA and Goldin.
It is not a trade night anymore. It is a second card show at night from 6:00 p.m. to 3 a.m. It is a second card show. It is ridiculous, guys, how crazy this trade night is. It was so crazy we didn't even take footage. We just did our live stream. But
I know I should have. Because did you see the tables? They had spread them all the way down the hall that leads to the convention center.
100 tables, guys. Usually at
more
trade
than
nights,
that, man, I think.
Yeah, usually at trade nights at Dallas, you would sit around on the couches and
remember when we started going there and it was just in the lobby, like at that lobby table and the chairs and couches. We were all sitting on the floor over there.
Yeah, but now it is like they have like 100 foldable tables lining the hallways. They've got an entire conference room that they open up for trade night. It is wild. Okay, so it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I think that poor hotel, Marriott, that poor hotel is like about to burst, just like be overloaded at these card shows every weekend.
I think they love it though, because they seem so like into getting
well, it makes them a lot of money. It makes them a lot of money for sure.
They seem pretty happy.
Like us hobby people, we take over that hotel for that weekend. It's crazy.
I see the people working there are super nice and easy to work with, and they're very hospitable at the Marriott.
Yeah. So that's crazy. The Dallas Card Show, it is the best show in the country. I can say right now, I know Burbank is ramping up. Burbank is trying to do that, trying to get to that level. But right now, Dallas is still king in my book for card shows. And I don't see them slowing down at all. It's crazy. It's crazy.
No,
but
we had a good time.
The team that they have there, Kyle, Ruben, and Leo, and everybody else that they have working there, man, they got it down. They know how to run a show.
Jerica,
yeah, they know how to run a show, because to plan and run all those logistics to do what they do is crazy to me. So that's the second thing I want to talk about. Third thing I want to talk about is what happened to us, what we witnessed, not us personally, but like what we witnessed during our live stream there. Actually, it's kind of like a two-parter, okay? I want to talk about kids in the hobby, right? Real quick. All right. So if you guys don't know, if you guys didn't watch our live stream, shame on you guys. Go watch it, please. I know it's like 5 hours, but come on, what else are you going to do? During the 2 hour, 30-minute mark or something like that, there was this incident because somebody told me.
Really? Oh, you haven't told me this yet.
And they gave me the timestamp. Jordan told me about this because he watched it. Somebody told him about it. They gave him the timestamp. But anyways, guys, here's a quick synopsis.
Okay.
So during our live stream, this dude comes up. I've never met him before. He seems super nice. I don't even remember his name.
Older guy, you mean?
Yeah, the old guy.
Okay.
He came up to us, and he was talking.
Don't say old, because he could be close to my age. We don't know. I don't.
He's an older gentleman.
Okay. Yeah.
He's not a grandpa or anything, but he's like 40 years old.
Okay.
At least. Right. So, anyways, he comes to our table. He talked to us for a little bit, and then he seemed super nice. And then this kid,
he seemed a little tipsy though.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like he had a few drinks over at PF Chang's.
He's he seemed like over the top outgoing.
Yes, he definitely was.
Right. And he
a jokester too.
Our table, he chats for 30 seconds. And then this kid that was walking around, he must have been like 12 years old, this kid.
Yes,
right?
And he bought the Olivia Dunn cards from me prior to this.
Walks up and tries and says hello to the guy. And I guess they know each other. And I don't want to give too much detail away because I don't want to out either one of these guys, because I'm using this as an example, really. Here. The little kid comes up to the adult, says something. The adult turns around and gives the kid a lot of nasty attitude. Say, hey, kind of snapping at him and just telling him, get away from me, you know, just kind of yelling at the kid. And
Yeah, I thought they were friends, so I thought they were just joking.
The kid scurries off, right? He gets back like this and scurries off. And I thought that kid was his dad. I thought that guy was his dad, right?
Right.
And then the guy turns around and I'm like, what was that about? And he says, oh, that stupid kid. He made fun of me on Instagram. We live in the same area.
Yeah, well, I heard him say no. He's like, seriously, I mean it. Don't ever get near me.
He cursed them. I think he cursed at him. Well, I don't know if he cursed at him.
But he did say, seriously, don't get near me. Don't come talk to me ever again. And that's when I knew, like, oh, he's not joking anymore.
But he did it in a way that you shouldn't do to a young kid, is what I'm saying. Like he said it in a inappropriate tone that if I was that kid's father, there would have been big problems. You know what I mean? You know? So the point I'm trying to make here is that the little kid apparently bullied the adult on Instagram.
He was trolling him pretty much.
He trolled him on Instagram, and then they met up in person, and the adult lashed out at the kid in a way that you should not do it to a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess they know each other to an extent, whatever it is, but whatever it is, it was probably inexcusable behavior, I think. And I don't think
I will say the kid, I mean, he was nice. He and I got along, but he does have a potty mouth.
The kid, honestly,
and he kept coming over, making jokes and used racy words. Like he bought the Olivia cards from me, and he looked, and Show Locator was there and some other people, and he's like, the reason he's buying these cards because I'm going to quote this. Sorry for my language, but she has a big, fat, juicy ass.
The kid was a smart ass.
I'm not defending the kid. I was like, dude, I'm not defending the kid. 12 years old, and everybody just kind of, it was like the needle off the record. Everybody just turned around like, what? This kid just said that?
Yeah. It was funny to us, right? But like,
yeah, it's cute, but
he's probably a smart ass. I don't know.
I think he is.
But you don't, you don't yell at kids. I just think, you know what I mean? You talk to them. You ignore them or whatever it is, but you don't yell at them unless something severe happens or whatever. But anyways, the point of that whole interaction, right, is there's a second part to this, right?
Okay.
So unrelated to that, there was another kid that came up to me after you left, and we did a deal, right? He bought a card for me for like $1. He, out of my dollar box, he bought a card for me.
Okay.
Right?
Was this on video?
No. So actually, it was a really nice kid who wanted one card from my box, but he didn't have $1, so he borrowed $1 from his friend that was right there, right? And his friend took the $1 out and threw it at me. Not because he was trying to be rude to me, but because like him and his friend were having this back and forth where, okay, you better give me this $1, you better
pay me back
or else, and he took out the $1.
Oh, he was kind of annoyed with his friend.
Yeah, he's looking at his friend, but he threw the $1 on the table at me.
Jeez.
And
these kids, man.
And I immediately started telling him, get the fuck. No, I'm just saying, I didn't say that. I told the kid.
You thought that in your head, though.
No, I told the kid, I said, hey, don't throw money at adults. It's very rude. Next time, either put it down gently or hand it to the person. And he's like, oh, okay, yes, sorry about that. So those two incidences is what I want to point out here. Is number one is these young kids got to learn some etiquette, man. They got to learn some etiquette because those are two examples, like a kid being rude or doing something to an adult, and two different reactions. One, my reaction is very mature and just kind of like talking to him, trying to teach him a lesson. The other guy snapping at him and saying, things that he shouldn't be saying to a kid. So these kids, they gotta go watch my etiquette videos and learn how to conduct themselves, because if they're in a hobby that's predominantly controlled by men, grown ass adults, right? And they're doing transactions with people where they're giving them money, like real stuff. They got to learn how not to be rude, or they're going to get themselves in trouble to some point. Right. You know what I mean?
I was a little worried about the show locator when he heard that kid say those words. Donald was so in shock, man. You should see the face. And Donald was like, I can't believe that kid talked that way. I would have been like slapped by my parents if I said something like that.
Well, that's my point. Is like these kids
Donald
are
was appalled. He was in trauma. He was traumatized. He went back to bed.
these kids are playing in a game of adults, right?
Yes.
Like I
well,
know
they probably hear all that language because we all do that. We all bust each other's balls and
but we're grown
make fun
men.
of each other. Yes,
we
but
can do that.
They see that, but they see their dads doing that, and you want to imitate the person that you look up to.
Right, and like I just don't want to see kids do that. Is what I'm saying. Like I think
they're already trying to get that adult humor at 12 years old.
I think kids need to. I think there needs to be an example set for kids within the hobby where. They're polite. They're not rude. They know how to talk to adults. They know how to talk to kids. And we just don't get situations like that. So anyways, that was another takeaway from the show of mine, that I saw a lot of kids out there, and it just kind of made me think like what these kids are experiencing, what they are seeing, and are they kind of copying what we're doing, or are they learning from our example? So it's just something that kind of stuck in my head that I'm going to be more mindful of every time in the future when I see kids at shows and stuff. I'm going to be more mindful of like how I interact with them, and if they do something that I think that they probably shouldn't be doing, that I might give them some advice on or something like that. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. But my dad would still belt me if I talked to an elder like that.
Right.
He pulled me even at 53 years old.
maybe it's a generational thing,
I'm sure it is.
I'm 40 years old. I'm not like super old or anything, but like, I think I still grew up to be respectful to adults.
Right. Of course you did.
You know what I mean? And here's another thing. If I have a daughter. She's not old enough to go to card shows, but like if I had like a young kid, unless they were like 15, 16 years old, I wouldn't be letting them run around shows with a bunch of money trying to do deals with adults. I would not be doing that.
No.
I'd keep an eye on them. I remember last year, Jeff Wilson, his kid, and this is not a knock on Jeff Wilson at all, but like his kid was at trade night, and Jeff was at trade night also. And his kid was going around, and his kid almost got scammed by an adult. Right? Do you remember that story? And they made a whole video about it and everything like that. So I would not be letting my kid, unless you're like 15 years old, 16, something like that. I don't think that these kids should be running around shows with, bags of money trying to
and a $20,000 Kobe Bryant auto card.
Yeah, so something like that. But anyways, that's a whole thing. That's just my takeaway. But overall, Dallas Card Show, I think, was really cool. Another big show.
I had fun doing Goldin skits with you.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Here's another takeaway from the show. I think we are getting to the point where we get more value in marketing ourselves and networking than we do actually sitting at the table selling cards.
Mm-hmm.
You agree?
Wholeheartedly. Definitely. It really showed this weekend.
It used to be all about sitting at the table and doing deals. How much money can I make? How many cards can I add to the collection that I can turn around, make money on, or just keep for myself? It used to be all about the transaction. Now it's about showing face. It's about meeting people, introducing ourselves to new followers, getting new followers, shaking hands with company representatives, getting sponsorships, doing content with those people. That's really where we're getting the most value from this. If you remember at the last show in March, we met the guys from Goldin, and then we got a sponsorship. Yep. Right. And then,
we had other offers from other auction companies too.
Right. And then this time around, we did the work for Goldin, and they were super happy with it. And that might lead to something else. There, you met Renee. You got the exposure from that. And, we met those guys from Korea, and we might have something with the Korean hobby shops happening pretty soon. So now it feels like, and then we're live streaming now, and they're giving us a table right at the middle of the trade night floor.
I know, right?
They're giving us VIP treatment, our own table there, because we do the live streams.
I'm
so
very
now
humbled for that.
like,
Thank you, guys.
it's like the marketing and the content is the real value that we get from that show, which is crazy to me to see that how it's like shifted like that. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So, anyways, so that overall Dallas was a great experience. I haven't gone through my footage yet. If I have enough, then I'll make a vlog of it. If you guys have any questions about Dallas or anything like that, put it in the comments. We'll get to it at the end of the show. If you've never been to Dallas before, I highly recommend that you go. You will not be disappointed. It is the best experience you can expect from going to a card show. It's like a mixture of like a family reunion and a boys' weekend and being at Disneyland, basically, for like 4 days straight.
That's right. We had a couple people who from Southern Cal who came out there this weekend for the first time ever, and they looked like they were having the time of their life.
It's the best. If you love cards, if you love wheeling, dealing, if you just love being around other people in the hobby, Dallas is where it's at. There's no other card show in the country that can match the experience of Dallas, because everything is centralized in one hotel. You don't leave the hotel.
I'm glad I stayed there this time. Last time I was across the freeway.
You only leave if you want to buy food, basically.
Yeah.
But you don't even need to, because they have a restaurant there and you can order Uber Eats and stuff like that. But if you want to get out, like go to a steakhouse or something like that.
Across the street.
Yeah. But everything's so super close to that area too. But like everything is really centralized in that hotel. And that creates this crazy like melting pot of hobby, like the perfect storm of hobby activity, basically. Like where you can do deals from 8 a.m. in the morning all the way to like 3, 4 a.m. at night.
You've done that before. I know you have.
Yes. So Dallas Card Show, go to the next Dallas Card Show, guys. Put it on your calendar. I would recommend going to the Dallas Card Show before even going to the National. Because
and what was the name of that barbecue place you took us?
Terry Black's.
Oh my God, that was so good too. That was the one time
we
we went out of the hotel.
I consider Terry Black's the best barbecue in Texas. I know people will argue with me about that, but hey, you know, my opinion about that. But anyways, Dallas Card Show, fantastic. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to our next thing. Let's talk about our sponsors real quick here.
We have it.
Yeah, we'll do the first sponsor we always have to talk about is the sponsor that you see in that corner right there, Veriswap. Veriswap is an online trading platform, just like My Slabs, just like other marketplaces where you can list cards for sale. This one is focused on trading. It's an app that you download on your phone. You make a profile, you list all your cards out there, and then instead of offering cash for your cards, you can offer to trade your cards. And the unique thing about this is the reason this app was created was to avoid scams. Normally when people do deals that involve trading cards on Instagram or Facebook Marketplace or something like that, you can get scammed. The card comes to you. It might be an empty box. It might be the wrong card. The card might get lost in the mail and never received, things like that. We see it all the time. Yes. People ask for legit
I've heard a lot
checks.
of horror stories.
They try to like legit check, is this person real? They try to coin the card. They try to add in all these layers of protection during the transaction. Well, get rid of all that stuff and just use Veriswap. Veriswap is a middleman hub. You send the cards to the Veriswap middleman hub place, the warehouse or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You send your cards there. They will inspect the cards to make sure it is what you represented on your profile. They will make sure that it is what it was negotiated in the trade. Once they have verified that, they will send it out to each party, and then it's done. You don't have to worry about the other guy scamming you or anything like that. It's a great way to conduct trades. They only charge 3% of the total trade value, which is totally worth it for the peace of mind of not getting scammed. Okay. Even if you pay goods and services, guys, people think that if you pay goods and services on PayPal or whatever, you're protected. You still got to go through the whole bullshit process of getting your money back, which is not quick. It's a long process. It's a headache and it will stress you out. So instead, use Veriswap and you can avoid all that stuff. And then they also have a cash component too. So you can trade and put cash on top of your cards. Me and Merlin have a profile on there. I have yet to do a trade yet because nobody's offered me anything good. So I'm still waiting to do my first trade. I don't think you've done yours either, Merlin.
No, because of all the cards, they are offering me like baseball prospects, and that is not in my wheelhouse. Definitely, I do not know anything about baseball.
So use the link in the show notes below. Your first trade is free. Put on pop culture cards. They want more pop culture. They want Pokemon, Marvel, Star Wars. They want all that stuff, guys. So go check out the profile. People on there are really active. I get trade alerts all the time. They're very active on that platform. So it's a good way to kind of shop around and see what's out there. And then maybe you get rid of some cards that you want to get rid of and you pick up something cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Veriswap is our trade. And then we'll talk about the other two sponsors throughout the show here.
Yay.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda here is, what was the other thing I want to talk about? Okay. We gotta have a little serious talk here. Do you have anything that you want to get into before I get into my thing again?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So we gotta have a little serious talk here. Okay. So last week I did a roundtable with our friend, sports card therapist, Rob, where he had me and Jeff Wilson on his show. Maybe some of you guys have seen it. Maybe you haven't, whatever. But the topic of the roundtable was polarizing figures in the hobby, right? Polarizing, meaning me and Jeff Wilson are polarizing figures, essentially saying that, people don't like us for some reason. Right? So we had this roundtable, and it was like an hour, 45-minute discussion. Rob, the sports card therapist, was the moderator, and he was asking us some really deep questions about like why people don't like us, what we do, things like that. And it was a great discussion, great civil discussion that we had. Okay. Jeff really gave some great, insight into how he thinks that normally you don't see him. Me, I was an open book. I was telling them, what I was feeling and things like that. Great roundtable all around. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend it if you want to see that kind of stuff. Okay. Here's the feedback that we got.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
And where's the feedback coming from or going to?
His followers.
Okay.
His followers are not necessarily my followers.
Exactly.
Okay. It's a different demographic.
Okay.
Okay. And there's gonna be like three things three takeaways from this that I want to share with you.
Okay.
First takeaway is the majority of feedback that he got, according to Rob, sports card therapist, the majority of feedback that he got was positive.
Okay.
Good. Basically, people were saying, hey, we like these guys. We like what they said. We don't have any problem with them at all. Right?
Good.
The majority of feedback from my followers that messaged me afterwards that said, hey, I watched it. It was a great interview. The majority of feedback that I got was, why do people have problems with you? What's wrong? What is going on? Like, I don't understand. Why are you polarizing?
Yes.
Why is this the subject of this line? Right? Like, they were totally, they didn't understand why we had to do this roundtable and why he was asking us these questions. Right?
Gotcha.
And I talked to Jeff and Rob about that. We have a little group chat, like a debrief that we did afterwards. And we're like, I guess we're not that polarizing after all. I think the majority of people in the hobby either like one of us or both of us, or they don't know us or don't care and don't watch us enough to care about anything we do. That is like the majority of people in the hobby. And what we kind of realized is that a small majority, I'm sorry, a small minority of people, like 30 people, basically, maybe like 20 or 30 people or something like that. A small number don't like us for whatever reason. And that small little number of people are super loud about it. Okay. They're super loud about it. And I'll give you two more examples to tie to this. Okay. I feel like there are those people out there, my nemesis out there that make videos about us or me. I'll speak about myself. I don't want to speak for Jeff here.
Okay.
But there's like people that make videos about me, and there's no secret about that. But they're the same people, right? So like 2 or 3, 4 people, whatever. They're the same people that make videos about me. they're all, and I've taken the position that these people are only doing this to try to like get attention to their channel. They're trying to they're trying to piggyback off my name, my platform to get views for their channel for clickbait. And then their followers, the people that really love that type of trash content, those people are the ones that are falling for that garbage, that are getting upset. I call it planting a false grievance in your head.
Right.
Make some video, some stupid allegation that they're just talking shit, and then they purposely piss off their followers to try to get them to do what I call a call to action to attack us, essentially. And I get nasty comments from these people all the time. I block them a lot. I share those comments with you. I don't share them publicly because I haven't gotten to the point where I'm going to call these people out yet, but I share it with you and my other friends, right? You've seen these outrageous things these people message me, like, it's racist. Some of them are racist. Some of them are threatening. Some of them are just like ridiculously absurd, right?
Right.
And they do that, right? Because they watch these videos and they get triggered and then they attack me. And most of the time, these people don't even watch my content at all. And
when you don't respond, then they send that same message to me regarding you.
And see, here's another thing. You by just proximity to me, by association, you unfortunately get a lot of flack for it too. And I'm sorry. I apologize.
And they're always telling me you're ignoring them. Yeah. I'm like, well, I can understand why. They actually have the audacity to tell me they can't understand why you don't respond or why you block them. And I'm like, well, I think I have a clue.
Yes. Here's the thing that
doesn't take a scientist to figure it out.
Here's the thing I want to share with this. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can share this because Rob has already talked about it on his channel.
Yeah.
So it's not like a private matter. So I can share this. During the weekend, that show aired on Friday. Okay.
This past Friday?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a couple of days ago, Friday. During the weekend, Rob went to a card show and set up as a vendor at a card show. He went to the Fenway card show
in Boston.
Yeah, because he's from like Massachusetts or something.
Oh, so it's right there. Yeah, it's better than Dallas.
And he told me, get this. He told me some idiot walked up to his table, a big dude, walked up to his table and said something along the lines of like, "Hey, Rob, how dare you have the great curator on your channel? Don't you have kids? You should be ashamed of yourself." And he was yelling at him that way. And Rob is like, what the hell are you talking about? What does that have to do with anything? Who the hell are you to say that to me, right? And then they were like shouting at each other. And apparently like Rob is like a therapist. He's a real therapist. I don't know like what he does exactly.
So the therapist in the name is real.
Yeah, he's a real therapist. Wow. So he's professionally trained to deal with emotional people, right?
Right.
So he starts trying to talk to this guy and saying, what is your problem? What did Dan do to you? What did I do to you? And the guy, according to Rob's story, the guy was like, oh, he's just bad for the hobby. He's just bad for the hobby. Something like that, right? I don't like him because he's bad for the hobby. And here's the takeaway from this story, okay? This is exactly the shit that I talk about when I say that these idiots make videos, make up some crazy story, some crazy clickbait allegation to trigger their followers.
Yeah.
And prompt a call to action for them to do something. Okay? And that is a perfect example. That guy probably doesn't know me. I don't know who he is. I don't have any interactions with him. He probably never even seen my content. Right?
Probably not.
But if he watches some video, he gets triggered, outraged enough to go to a card show and confront Rob in person, in public, shout at him, okay, about why he doesn't like me. And then when prompted with the question, what did Dan do to you? All he can do is spit out a boilerplate line. He's bad for the hobby. I don't like him because he's bad for it. He cannot give
me an example.
He cannot give any specific example, cannot articulate why he doesn't like me for whatever reason. He's just regurgitating what he probably saw on some video tagline, right?
That got him riled up.
He looks like an idiot in front of an entire crowd, right? And that is the problem with that I've been talking about, where these people, they're probably not bad people, but they get triggered and they get these false grievances planted in their mind, and they feel like they have to go out and do something like that. And luckily, it has never happened to me where somebody has really come up to me and caused a problem.
Same here. Well, they said they were going to come to the National last year and beat you and me up, and I screenshotted and then blocked it, and then I made sure where to stand behind the table.
Yeah.
But they never showed up.
So
thank God.
It's usually isolated to just online trolls. They'll message me, talk some shit, I block them. It has never happened where they have actually come to a show and confront somebody before, let alone, I mean, not me, but somebody that has associated with me, you know, in just like a little podcast, right? So when I see that, it validates what I've been thinking all along, but it also concerns me because I feel like these guys are getting prompted to do more things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what these videos are about. I don't know if they're saying, go find him at a card show, you know, go find out where he lives. I'm not going to get into details because I don't want to talk about it, but I've had, you know, people make other threats, inappropriate things that have crossed the line before. So I just feel like, man, that we need to like really pull back the curtain on what this stuff is before it gets out of hand, because, you know, we know what happens when people fall for things that they see on TV and go act on those things. You know, I don't want to talk about politics, but we all know what happened. Okay.
Yes,
we all know what happened. We know, what do they call it when people like, what do they call it? Gaslighting, or like, what is it called when you like incite a riot or something? There's a term.
It's like fear mongering.
Something like that. Yeah. Like fear mongering.
You're gaslighting too.
Gaslighting, inciting riots. I feel like that's what these idiots are doing. And that was part of our discussion between on Sports Card Therapists.
Yeah, they're copycatting and other like social media.
Yeah, that was part of our discussion. Is like during our closing statements, I was telling these people, I was like, look, I was telling Rob and Jeff, I was like, look, you know, for the most part, we ignore them. We put out positive content. We try to flood. We need to flood basically the internet with fun, hobby-focused content, entertain people. We need to push all that trash down on the ground, because if we allow these guys to just kind of operate with impunity in the hobby, they're gonna take advantage of a lot of people out there. And those people probably don't know any better, you know, for whatever reason. I mean, I just believe that anybody that watches any of my content over the last year, there's no reason that you couldn't do it. There's no reason that you wouldn't feel anything except you laugh at my content, you be entertained by my content. If anything, you're annoyed because it's so ridiculous, you know, like some of the things that I do. But it's not any reason for somebody to go up and try to, you know, start a confrontation or provoke a confrontation, you know, at a card show. You know what I mean? So anyways, that's my biggest takeaway from that. That's my feelings. I don't know.
I mean, you don't even target anyone or anything like that. You're just talking about what you enjoy, what you're, you know, relaying what you're buying and what's selling for you at these shows. It may not always work. You're being honest, being transparent. What works, what doesn't work. If you've had a good show or a bad show, you know, and you do funny skits. Some are, you just improv them, and they're scripted, but they're just funny skits that are regarding the hobby. I don't know why people get mad at you for doing those things. It doesn't make any sense.
My
just having a fun time.
I've said this before. It's 90% entertainment designed to make you laugh, entertain you for a few seconds out of the day. I show off things that I collect, that I buy, sell, and trade, and then it's like 10% educational. Sometimes I'll talk about things seriously, but for the most part, it's entertainment. And then these guys, they just try to like start some shit about it, and and it makes some idiot take it literally, and then they go out and they do something. And I'm just, I just don't want people to get in trouble. I don't want people to start shit. I don't want people to get attacked on my behalf. I know, like, another example is the Cousins Collectibles, Oz, the people's mailman, a person that I consider a friend in the hobby. He has to, like, he gets confronted also on his own podcast about things associated with me, and he finds himself having to defend me and things like that. And I just think it's just ridiculous, and it's getting to be too much. Anyways, I don't know if we can do anything to stop it, but I just know for myself, the only thing that I can do is really just continue to, like, put out so much content that these guys can't keep up with it. And I mean, they're still talking about things from, like, last year. They're still talking about videos I made last year. They cannot keep up with the amount of content that we're producing, and eventually they're going to fall off. They're going to give up. Because nobody can outlast me. Okay. I will do this until I'm like 90 years old. Nobody will be able to outlast me on the content space for that. So that's probably the only thing we can do. Okay. Anyways, let's move on from that. We're getting really deep into this. A lot of great topics to talk about. I probably had some other stuff I want to talk about, but anything you want to throw in there?
No, I mean, you just have a good time. I never can recollect a video where you were saying these are the top 5 you must invest in, or no, because people sometimes blame me that. I'm like, well, I've never seen a video of you making videos of what to invest in and put all your money into this. You never said, oh, put all your money in the Star Wars cards or put all your money in the PMGs. You're just talking about the ones that you buy, because you buy those yourself, and all you're doing is selling and trading them back just to get more. That's all you're doing.
Right.
But you're not telling people to make money decisions.
And, I go back to my early content.
Yeah. What was it?
My first YouTube videos that I was making, where I was making educational videos.
Right.
Believe it or not, guys, before I was making funny reels, I was making educational videos. And actually they hold up pretty well, to be honest.
Okay,
I should clip those. I should clip them.
Yes. Revive them.
And start posting them again. But they're so different than what I am now. Like, I've really grown and
come out of your shell.
Come out of my shell a lot and everything. So, like, if I posted it, it would look like a completely different person, to be honest. But they still hold up. They, like, the informational videos are still in line with what I do now. Like, it's evolved. Of course, it's evolved over time as I've learned and experienced different things in the hobby, and the hobby has changed over the years, but they're still, like, really good informational resources. So if you guys haven't seen any of those videos, go back, watch it. There's a lot of things in there that I think can help you out. But anyways, that's kind of where we're
remixed.
Yeah, remix. There we go. I should just I should remake these videos.
Remix them.
Yeah, just change my tone in them. I think that would be helpful too. I might have to do that, like make a part 2 of these videos or something like that. Anyways, okay. Let's talk about our next sponsor here real quick here. Our other sponsor in the corner right there, Standup Displays. I don't have any in hands to show you right now, but basically you guys
because you're out of town.
You guys have seen this on my channel many times. Stand-up displays are the best stands in the hobby, hands down. If you're still buying those cheap acrylic or plastic stands on Amazon, don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. Stand-up displays is better. They have injection molded stands that go straight onto your cards. It's more stable. It looks better. They make custom stands. If you have a logo, they'll make a logo of your stand. Their stands hold pretty much any type of slab out there. And then we have a special. If you use the code Curator, which I think will be in the show notes, if not, it's just the word Curator, you get 10% off their website. If you buy my stand, which is actually available on their website, if you buy my stand, you'll be eligible for all my personal giveaways. Basically, when I do a giveaway, I say, hey, post a cool pic. I post a picture of a cool card using my stand. And if you do it, you win the giveaway. So only a few people have actually taken advantage of that. So
really?
If you can, go buy the stand, and then it's not, you get a stand, but you'll get like their generic stands also. So you're not just buying my pretty face. Okay, guys. So Stand Up Display, they're a great partner for our show. We love them. I love that business. I love the entrepreneurs behind that business. His name is Dan also. We want to support him. So if you want to support us, please support our sponsors too. Okay.
Nice.
All right. And what was the other thing? There's another couple things that I want to talk about here. I usually write it down, but I don't have my notepad with me.
And it's not on the top of your head anymore?
Man, I throughout the day, I think about all these things that are going on my head. Is there anything you want to talk about? Any new releases? Anything that you've seen?
No new releases right now. It's the same old one. So we'll probably have a new update probably next week of new releases coming out in June. So look for that.
There were some new Star Wars cards that dropped today.
Yeah, they were the
Sapphire. Star Wars Sapphire.
That was out today.
And apparently they have Mark Hamill autos in that set.
What?
Stickers though.
But he's back signing.
I guess so because
no. They've already got the stickers. They said because Anthony Divine Warrior, he said that they already had the sheets already of the stickers of his. So the on-card one's always the one to go after.
Well, I mean, it's still.
But apparently he's supposed to come back.
Okay. Well, they posted a superfractor of Mark Hamill.
I would love to have it still.
It looked nice, and it's a sticker auto. But so that's the news. But thank you for reminding me about our friend, Divine Warrior here. Okay.
Divine Warrior Brands.
Yes. So this is not a knock on him, okay? But we had an interesting conversation. So
another rant. Watch out, folks.
So Anthony, if you're seeing this is not a knock on you, okay? But this is based on the conversation that we had. So I'm gonna give a little background about this, about what happened, the conversation we had at our table, and I want you to fill it in with your thoughts, okay? Because I've been ranting for an hour. I want to give you your chance to rant also. So you remember he walked up to our table.
Yeah,
very friendly. He's looking at our stuff, and then just without any reason, he's like, "You know what? You guys really screwed the Star Wars market." He said,
"Yeah,
okay, Star Wars cards should not be worth any money. You know, you guys really screwed it when you sold the Superfractor to DAPS." Okay, so he didn't say it like in a disrespectful way. He was just, we were having a conversation, right?
I think it was a little tongue in cheek.
Okay, yeah, too. And that's the way he is. We know him, so
yeah, that's
part
the
way
of his humor.
So he wasn't attacking us, but I just want to take that, and
there's a little truth to it too,
and run with that conversation. Okay, what are your impressions about that? Forget about that. It came from Anthony. Okay, forget about that. Okay. What are your impressions about that thought process? Because he said that he told us that people in the Star Wars group chats or whatever, the OG collectors, the true collectors out there, right, don't like what has happened with the Star Wars market. Okay, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's just because they want to keep it more underground, so to speak, and now it's kind of become mainstream. And it's more popular.
Can you elaborate
more popular.
On that?
Like,
why do they want to keep
card collecting and sports card? Because they just want to keep it to themselves. They just want to be an exclusive club to it.
Why?
But now it's going out to the sports card people. Now they're all involved in it.
Why do they want to keep it to themselves?
Because they're introverts.
You remember what Anthony told us?
Because they don't want to go higher. They won't be able to afford it.
Yes, they don't want to spend the money.
Right.
Right. They're upset because
they probably don't have real jobs.
Well, no, let's not talk down to them. Okay.
I'm kidding.
Let's try to understand it from their perspective.
I collect them too.
Let's try to understand it from their perspective. Is that they're upset because the values of the cards rose, the price of the wax boxes rose, and it became more competitive. So the prices rose because of that, because more people wanted the most desirable cards, superfractors and things like that, autos and things like that. And they were upset because they didn't want to spend the money for that, because they were used to paying for cards. They were used to buying cards for like $100. Now these same cards might cost like $500, might cost $1,000 or whatever it is, right? and they don't want to do it. They're upset, right? And I think you hit it on the nose when you said that they want it for themselves. They're an exclusive. They're a small community of collectors. And now all these outsiders come in and have to compete with them, and they're upset because they don't get to get the cards that they want, at the same prices that they were used to paying, right?
Right. Well, they see it like, oh, we were the people who really love Star Wars cards, and now these people are coming in who just see Star Wars cards as an investment that they can turn over at some time.
Right. Okay.
Too. You know what I mean?
So I want to address that point.
That's how they see it.
I want to address that point real quick here. I feel like I can understand if you have your thing going on and then suddenly your thing changes and you get people coming in that you don't think necessarily appreciate Star Wars the same way you do, and that you should take priority over them because you were there before or whatever. But I just think that is a very narrow-minded way of thinking, because arguably, these people coming in are as big of Star Wars fans as anybody else out there. You know what I mean? Star Wars is a very, beloved IP that a lot of people are connected to. So to say that you never collected Star Wars prior to last year, so you cannot be in it now, I think that's kind of stupid to say. And then the whole argument about, well, the cards are worth more now, so we can't buy the cards that we want. Okay, I would argue that the cards, anything prior to 2021, they had first pick at all those cards, right? So they should already have everything that they wanted. The new products that are coming out, okay, yes, those have increased in prices, but if the value of all the cards that they had prior to this also increased, you know what I mean? So if anything, these people should be appreciative of how much their cards are valued now, to a lot of different people out there, and they should take advantage of that versus trying to be upset. And we brought this point up to Anthony, and his response was, well, these people will never sell, right? these people don't sell, whatever. Okay, if you don't want to sell your collection, that's fine, but that doesn't change the fact that it's appreciated a lot.
Yeah, that's your choice.
Right? And that's their choice, you know what I mean? So, the market has changed, and it's not like it was necessarily 100% us. You know what I mean? It was just the market was evolving, just like the sports card, and just like the Marvel, and just like wrestling now, and just like Disney now. The markets have evolved where more people are coming in with more money, and they're moving that money around, and people have to compete for these cards, and it was inevitable. You know what I mean? If it wasn't us, it was going to be somebody else. But here's the point I want to make here, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Mm-hmm. I was talking to our good friend, Eric, the Pop Count, about this, member of the Superfractor Club. Mm-hmm. Okay. He told me, he's like, look, it's not really about you, Merlin, or even Daps. If you're going to blame anybody, you got to blame Tops. And I was like, and I said, why? What do you mean? Ooh. He's like, and here's this. This is what he got me good. Okay. This is what he said. He said, look, Star Wars cards historically have not been worth anything or have not been worth very much because they haven't made a good product. It was not until they made Topps Galaxy Chrome in 2020 or 2021 where they made numbered parallels and they made superfractors of the Chrome artwork that people took notice, right? You didn't sell a card from 2000 or 2010 or 1990. You sold a relatively new card that you discovered a couple months prior, which is the Kurosawa, which we discovered in Atlanta Culture Collision. And through the course of a couple months, once that card was discovered and people found out about it, that's when the demand for that card grew. It was not necessarily what you guys did. You didn't do anything. Topps made the product, and the product was a smash hit, and it took those supers to get discovered, just like with product now where they have the new Flawless and people are pulling these Logo Men and they're chasing these Logo Men cards. Same thing with Topps Chrome. And that's what really caused the spike, because that Galaxy Chrome product checked all the boxes. Okay. It was a shiny card, beautiful design, numbered parallels, strong IP. It checked all the boxes. And that's what really propelled the market. So even though you guys were like the pieces involved, it wasn't what you guys did. It was the fact that Topps made a product that was like a home run, a groundbreaking product. And that's what built up the Star Wars market. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And the thing is that there's almost like this cross-marketing symbiosis effect to it all too, because when the soccer, popularity grew during the pandemic, when Americans started buying soccer cards, they started watching soccer on TV because that's about the only sport that was coming on, and people started understanding the soccer players, and then you would start finding your soccer players, and then you'd want to go back and buy those cards even more. So you started getting more into soccer cards because you got more into soccer because you started buying the soccer cards. And it's the same thing with non-sports or the Star Wars. Like when we started buying the cards, you'd see some characters like, who is this? And someone's, oh, it was in this movie or it was in this series. And then everybody started enjoying the cards, and they would start watching the shows. You'd go see the movies or, watch Disney Plus and watch all the series. And then you'd see these, characters in those shows, and you're like, oh, I love that character. Now I want to go look for their card. And now you're wanting to collect more because you're enjoying both aspects of it. You're enjoying watching the shows and the movies, just like you do sports. And then you want to go buy that character's card or their autograph.
Mm-hmm. It was the perfect crossover product to bring in new people to the market. You know what I mean? So it's not like we did anything that was like so groundbreaking that we brought in the entire sports card market to collect Star Wars. It was just the fact that it was a great product, and we just happened to be the people that got our hands on those cards first. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, and the series 2, I got a lot of cards of like the Bad Batch, and I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know it existed. And I was like, what's these animated cards? Oh, it's the Bad Batch. It's this series now it's been on Disney Plus. You can watch it on there. I was like, oh, I didn't even know. If I didn't pull that card out, I wouldn't even asked, and wouldn't have even known that show was on Disney Plus, and I started watching it. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed it. I'm glad I found out. I don't think I would have found out if I didn't pull the card out of a pack.
And a lot of Star Wars cards are still not even worth that much. All these all these paper products, Mandalorian and the one that recently came out lately, and then just like I can't even remember like the other stuff that they have out there. That stuff is not expensive at all. The only stuff that is really expensive is the Galaxy cards, the Galaxy Chrome cards, and any like Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford auto from past years.
Yeah, I don't even think the regular Chrome cards are that expensive, right? Are they?
Yeah, and we're not even talking about the vintage stuff. We're not talking about 1977 or anything like that. We're talking about like the modern 1990s and up. A lot of that stuff is still not even that expensive. Even 96 finest.
I know, right?
They're not that expensive.
That should be like the 86 Fleer set.
Yeah, but no, they still have the opportunity to buy all that stuff out there, right? But they're, so I think that's a misunderstanding of actually what happened in the market. And if you're mad, those Topps Chrome cards that came out, it was probably inevitable that product was going to appreciate over time. I know when it first came out, it was $100, and then it shot up to like $200, and then $300, and then now it's like $400 or $500. Mm-hmm. But that was it's probably inevitable just because that product was so well received by collectors, and there's still a lot of supers that have not been pulled yet, which is why that product holds value. Like if I unless I'm mistaken, Leap of Faith, the box cover art has not been pulled yet.
Oh, from Series 1?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So that's why those products are maintaining their value. But it's a new product, so you can't blame us for that product being expensive when everything else is really not expensive, except for like Mark Hamill autos or stuff like that. So I thought that was an interesting conversation that we had with Anthony. I will say this though, from my general experience with the Star Wars community, they have been pretty welcoming to an extent. I think Anthony probably has his little subsector group.
Of course,
that they
of
talk to each other, and he shared
Mhm.
that opinion with us, which I thought was interesting. But for the most part, they have been very welcoming, and I hope that these guys take advantage of the market and cash in on some cards if they're sitting on anything. If their cards are not valuable, I think that might be another reason they're upset. Maybe they're upset that Galaxy gets all the attention and some other series that they collect doesn't. You know, I think that might be an issue, but that's a conversation for another day.
See, they need to make like a Chrome or something of The Simpsons now. It's long ado.
Yeah. Whoever owns the Simpsons product, they need to do something like that, and then the Simpson cards will be worth a lot of money. You know,
some number refractors.
Yeah. And then
Autographs.
you know, if we're lucky, we'll get our hands on some of those cards, and they'll blame us for that too.
I know.
Okay, so very interesting conversation tonight. There are some other topics that I want to talk about, but I think we're running a little bit late now. So let's get to the comments.
Okay.
Here, because I see we have a lot of comments, so I want to address.
Yes, we are, and we're already an hour and a half in. We're running late tonight, Dan.
Before we get to these comments, though, let's talk about our last sponsor here, Goldin Auctions. So, guys, we did not drop a video yesterday because we did the video live from the Dallas Card Show on Friday night. So go check out that video to see what auctions that we are looking at this week. The auctions end Thursday, okay? And there's some good stuff, guys. There's some good stuff. So please go check out that video. Please comment in that video. We already did the giveaway, but please support us anyways. If you guys can, just put a comment in there. Our sponsorship agreement with Goldin is ending very soon. So we want to show them that you guys enjoy this show. We want them to see that you guys enjoy the benefits that we get from Goldin, which is the $100 giveaway and all that stuff. And we want you guys to support us so that they can see that, and they want to continue to sponsor us and associate with us. So please help us out. Check out the video. Even if you don't watch the whole thing, just leave a comment so that they can see the engagement. Click on the link in the video show notes so that they can track the engagement. And that's the best way to help us out. And we would appreciate that. Anything you want to add to that?
Nope, that's it.
Yeah. So check that out, guys. And then please give us some feedback. If you like the live videos format versus the edited video, let us know, because it's way different, guys. The edited videos, we try to keep to about 15, 16 minutes. They go really quick. We put in funny clips. We put in sound effects and graphics.
Right, bells and whistles.
We try to make it as entertaining as we can, but it takes a long time to do, guys. The lives are longer, that they last about 30, 45 minutes.
Right.
We don't have all the bells and whistles because we're doing it live, but it's more like back and forth banter. So whatever you guys like, let us know, and we will do that. We don't have to do the short videos. If you guys like a longer form video, we're happy to do that for you guys also, okay? So give us feedback. We want this show to be established within the hobby.
We're open to constructive criticism.
Yes. Send all your notes, all your hate mail to Merlin. He is the editor of all this stuff. So if you have any problems with the editing, send it to Merlin, okay? And let us know, and we will do our best to keep it entertaining for you guys as well. And
do it live.
And if for some reason they don't renew our sponsorship, then it's okay. We had fun doing it, and then maybe we'll get a new sponsor in the near future. Okay. All right, let's get to these comments here.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Like Tone Loc says. Carlos, it's Rise and Shine Curator Army time. Emmanuel, let's go between two slabs. Let's get it. Adrian, CV Sports Cards, what's up, guys? I made it to a live. Yay, finally did it. Good to have you back, brother. Mark the Collector, happy Tuesday, guys. Yeah, happy Taco Tuesdays.
Taco Tuesday.
Jesse, Culture Shock Collectibles. What's up, fellas? Great seeing you this weekend. I left after him. I guess that's curator. He was the second to last, or he was the last. Carlos, you called it.
Okay. Hold on.
Go back.
Jesse's trying to ruin my brand here.
Who went last?
Jesse was in the parking lot as I left because he takes a long time to load up his car.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, he had a lot of stuff. He has a lot more than you do. I do know that.
But I technically was the last to leave the showroom because Jesse doesn't even have a table in the showroom. Okay, he's on the hallway. So I still am the last one that left the Dallas Card Show.
Carlos, she called it PWCC. Yep. Carlos, Fanatics taking over. Yep. Andrew, Beckett used to be PSA's biggest competitor. Fanatics taking over, I guess B or PSA or BGS would be huge for them. Beckett?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like if we can assume that Fanatics has enough money to buy out anybody, right? If it's a matter of money, right? If there's a price, Fanatics will buy them, right? So there's got to be something else that they want. But between all the established grading companies out there, the only one that would make sense would be Beckett because their brand name. You'd be buying the brand name. You could go in there, you could buy. They have an infrastructure. You could update their infrastructure. You could put in new people. You could do all that stuff, but you can't buy the brand name. You know what I mean? You can't buy the goodwill that the name has. And SGC, as much market share as they gained over the last year, between you and me, we know that it's very difficult to move SGC slabs for some reason, unless it's in a vintage card, right? So Beckett makes sense for that. All those other grading companies, CSG, CGC, they're part of the same company. I just don't think they have the brand name recognition that would make sense for Fanatics to do that.
Or there's times when SGC will grade cards that PSA will not.
Yeah. So I think that's the perfect fit for them. And they're in Dallas, they're centrally located. They do a lot of other stuff too. Like Beckett also grades photos, tickets, comics, all sorts of stuff. So it seems like that would be the missing component for them.
Yeah, I guess because PSA and BGS have a more wide range of things they grade, and they do the DNA grading too. Yeah,
and here's the other thing I think. Here, I'm going to call it right now, okay?
And the Type 1 exhibits, like you have, the photos.
I'm going to call it right now. Besides a grading company, I think the next thing that Fanatics needs to put their hands on is a card show. I think they need to take over the National.
Oh my God.
Because the National is a nonprofit organization.
It is?
It is. And it has a component that runs the show. But the National is like a nonprofit. I think.
Where's the money go to?
I don't know. I don't know how any of that stuff works, but I think the next thing is for them to take over the National and host the National Sports Card Convention hosted by Fanatics, that's the next big thing. And then they truly own everything at that point.
Oh gosh. Ed Ram, good evening, fellas. Good, Ed. Good to see you. Emmanuel, the last thing we need in the hobby are margin calls. These guys were way over leveraged.
Yep. I mean,
just like you said,
you can take loans on, real estate if it's like if the real estate generates income through rent, right? You can take loans on securities if those securities are tied to companies that make money.
Okay.
Right? You can't take a loan on a card that doesn't do anything, and that the value of that card is determined in a hobby marketplace where other people can list their card for sale and sell it at way lower than you value that card. There's too much volatility in play here where it doesn't make sense to loan on that card, even at 50%. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Now, I know other auction houses will give you cash advance, right? They will value the card and they'll give you a cash advance on what they think the card will sell for, and then they will sell the card to you or for you, right? I think that's okay if they do it conservatively, but you can't try to make money off of interest on these cards, which is what they were trying to do, because it just doesn't work. And I'm pretty sure that the people that were submitting cards and things like that, they weren't going through the rigorous process of being qualified for a loan like you would if you were to go to a bank, right? If you get a bank loan for real estate or something like that, they're going to look at your tax returns. They're going to look at your income statement and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure these people weren't doing that. And when it came time to call in the loans or things like that, that's probably where they ran into trouble.
Definitely. Andrew, it kind of amazes me some cards are worth millions of dollars. Logically, it makes no sense. There's no real life utility to cardboard, even cards that are unique.
So here's the thing, guys, okay? These cards, they have no utilitarian value. They're not worth, the materials are not worth anything, right? They don't do anything. They don't produce anything, right? That would make money. The money comes in the collectability value of cards. And I've talked about this many times before.
Okay.
A card is only worth as much as somebody is willing to pay for it at any given time. I've had this argument with a bunch of idiots that say, my card, according to the market value, my card, I'm just using this example, I don't have a card. My card, according to the market value, is worth $100. That's what it's worth. I'm not selling it for anything less than that. Well, your card's only worth $100 if somebody's willing to pay you $100 for it.
Right.
If somebody's willing to pay you $80, that's what your card is worth at that time, right? And you can choose to sell it or you can choose not to. And that's where the negotiation comes in. But it's based off of the card being a collectible and everything is negotiable. I made a whole video about this, right? So, I think it's dangerous to assume that a card is worth a certain dollar value. And you get this all the time. People price bash each other all the time. Even me. People talk a lot of shit about me when they say, his cards are not worth that much. Well, to you, maybe, right? It's not worth this much. But to somebody else, that if I find them, it's worth this much, right? Or to me, it's worth this much or something like that, right? So I think that's what people have to understand about cards. And that's why it doesn't really work to take loans off it, because it's very subjective, and it really depends on a lot of different factors that just that just conflict with the mechanics of doing a loan on something like that. Mm-hmm.
Well, are stocks like the similar way? So if you see something that's like $26 a share and you own those shares, say you own like 10 shares, I'm just using an example. Does that mean you're going to get it for $26 each per share?
At that time, yes, because stocks are regulated. They're regulated within a marketplace that controls the value based on how many they buy and sell every day, right? And the stock market has mechanisms in place to prevent the price to crash. If a stock price goes down more than like 10% or something like that, they'll stop trading on that stock.
So it's not the fact that someone can, even though that's the price you see, if someone offers you $24 per share, you can't do that.
You can't undercut them like that.
Gotcha.
There's different things like, you can short stocks and things like that, but that's totally different. If we're just talking about like just being able to go on, Robinhood and buy a stock at the current price, it's that price. You
have to pay that price.
Yeah. If the stock is $26, you can't say I'll give you 20. And then somebody sells it for 20 and suddenly the price of that stock goes down to $20. It doesn't work that way. But with cards, it does. Right?
Mm-hmm.
With stocks, the price that it is, that's what it is based on how many people are buying and selling it in real time. It's not you send the stock to auction and if it goes higher or lower, that's the price of it. It doesn't work that way, right?
Okay.
So I've talked about this before where people are trying to take the concepts of other markets, and apply them to cards and or the hobby, and it doesn't work that well. The mechanics are different about it. And then, shit like this happens where people get in trouble. Okay. Anyways, let's see here.
Yeah. I mean, like Okay, so we saw the King of Collectibles, and we know about that, say, Triple Man logo LeBron James, right? That they were trying to chase out of a box,
Yeah.
and and then finally, people were buying the boxes of them because they want to pull it because they know it hasn't been pulled yet, and they spend all that money. And this card, like when Panini makes it, what was it, like a Flawless or National Treasures?
Flawless.
Flawless. So and they look at, it made bring $3.5 million or something like that.
Yeah,
So
that was their estimate.
Panini makes this card, do they know we just made a $3.5 million card? What do we do with it? How do we place it into the Flawless box? Like, what are they thinking when they make this card? Or should we get this, like, the greatest card designer in the world to make, because this is such a special card? Or is it just made by a machine? Like,
See,
I don't even know.
That's another thing that really doesn't make sense to me in the hobby, right? Essentially, these companies that's an interesting point that you bring this up here. Now I'm going to go on another rant.
Okay.
Essentially, these companies, Topps, Panini, and whatever else is out there, Upper Deck, they can print money, right? They make cards. They have the licenses to make these cards, and anything they make will sell to a certain extent. And if they want to get crazy, they can make really high-end products, really unique things like Logo Man patches, get game use materials, get the players to autograph it. They can get an artist, like you said, design all this stuff, and they know that people are going to go crazy for it because of the secondary market value. And that's when they play that game where they try to tap into that secondary market value. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I know for a fact that the process of making these cards and all that stuff is, it's not that expensive. You know what I mean? Like, you could make a Flawless box for probably, I don't know, $500. That might even be high. You know what I mean? Maybe let's just say if it's all game use patches, game use logo man, all that stuff, you probably make it, it'd probably be like $1,000 or something like that. I'm just making that number up, okay? But it's probably going to be relatively close to that, probably less, to be honest. $1,000. Right. And that card on the secondary market will sell for, like you said, $2 million or something like that. So what they're going to do is they're going to price their product to be at the highest retail value that they know they can do to make that margin, and they're going to let the secondary market make the rest of the margin. But it's very inconsistent because you'll see boxes go for you'll see I'll use an example, Eminence, right? Eminence boxes, which is the highest end product that they have.
Okay.
Soccer Eminence, 12,000.
Whoa, cool, lordy.
NBA Eminence, 20,000.
20,000.
It's the same card. It's the same design, same product.
And how many packs are in a box, or
like 10 cards or something like that, right?
Just 10 cards total.
Something like that. Whatever the new NBA Flawless box is sold for, I think they're like $10,000 or something, more than that, right? They price it to whatever they want it to be, so that they can make the most margin. We saw that with Star Wars. Star Wars Galaxy Chrome Series 1 was $100 retail.
Yeah.
Right. And then it shot up to $600 secondary market.
Right.
Second year, Topps Chrome Galaxy
starts at
$300. Right. Retail.
Yep.
Why? It's the same thing, but they saw that it went to $600 last year. So, okay, let's triple the price. Let's make a little bit more money. Blaster boxes used to be $20. And then they saw people flipping the blaster boxes at Target and stuff. Now they're like $30. You know what I mean? So they make it so that they can profit off of it, but it's basically they can price it whatever they want to price it at, and they know that we will buy it. That's the problem. You know what I mean? They know that people will buy it and flip it and make money on it, so they could essentially charge us whatever they want.
And that's another thing that gets me too, because I don't understand them, because when you have, say, like the Lewis Hamilton Superfractor, right? And that card, you're like, oh my God, I bet that card could go for $500,000. The Panini people are thinking, and then all of a sudden it comes back a PSA 7, or you get that logo patch, and it's a 1 of 1, and it comes back a PSA 6. If I was like the CEO, I'd be like, who just designed this? It came back a PSA 6. I'm so mad. This should be a PSA 10. Where's the quality?
That's a huge disconnect also. You're so right about that.
Yeah.
Huge disconnect. Like, why wouldn't you want the best card, the chase card, out of that product that you're charging a lot of money for? Why would you not make sure that it is perfect condition?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, you made it. It's you have to take the time to specifically make that one card, right? Why would you not make sure that it's perfect condition before you send it out? You know what I mean? So there's a disconnect. It's almost like they don't give a shit.
I know. That's what my point is. It's like they cut it the same way they just did cut a common card. And this is like ends up being almost $1 million card.
But see, here's the thing that they need. Here's the thing that they don't value. Lewis Hamilton, PSA 7, right? Superfractor sold for $900,000, PSA 7. Would that card go higher if it was a PSA 10?
I'm sure.
I would assume so, right? There'd be some premium. So in theory, if the card is worth more, then that means the next year they can charge more for their product, right?
Right, and hopefully the next time the superfractor is up, higher PSA grade.
Yeah, so they should. It's in their best interest to make sure
doing this on purpose.
The card is in perfect condition. You know what I mean, or as close as possible. So I think that's another disconnect of the hobby. But you know, maybe
it'll be an 8 the year after 9, finally a 10.
Maybe they'll fix it in the future. You know, who knows? Who knows? Okay, let's get to the next one here.
Yeah, see, because I would make like a video about it. Like we have the top 10 scientists and designers, making this creation.
You think they would? That's another great idea too. Like, we never see them making these things. You know what I mean? Sometimes we'll see like athletes signing their card, but like they gotta. It's like they don't care about the secondary value of the card. You know what I mean? They just want to print it, get their share of whatever it goes for, and then just move on to the next project. But I think if they were more thoughtful in it, then they would make more money on the return. Star Wars Chrome is a perfect example of that, right? Like we were talking about, like nobody really cared about Star Wars cards. Then they make a really great product, Star Wars Chrome, really great product. It doubles the market value on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they don't follow up, like they don't come back and acknowledge why that product was so special. They don't do the marketing that you just suggested. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely missed opportunities there.
Step in the box. If I were Fanatics, I'd be investing into an auction platform that could take on eBay with less fees.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why they did it, just to have their hands in that market share.
Emmanuel says, do you guys think Fanatics bought PWCC to stabilize prices of cards in the market?
I don't think so. I don't know if anything's going to stabilize the prices of cards in the market. I think that's just to me, honestly, this is going to be a hot take, okay, on this. But to really stabilize the prices of cards in the market, you got to stop turning over cards so much. That's what causes the value of cards to crash, is when they get turned over in all these auction houses. They get sold, multiple times. People trying to flip these cards.
Yep.
Like you buy a card, like we see all these cards, and I'm going to use sports cards as an example here so people understand. You see cards like Trae Young, Lucas, Tom Brady cards. They're all down significantly from their peak because people keep turning them over. You know what I mean? Like, and they get turned over because they're so easy there's so many marketplaces competing for your business. PWCC, Goldin, eBay, Probstein within eBay, all these other consigners, that's people that started consigning business where they just want to take your card and list it. They don't care what it sells for, Alt, all these other auction houses that just keep trying to get these cards and turn them over, then get these cards again, turn them over we used to have auctions every month, monthly auctions, except for eBay, which ends every day. Now we have auctions every week. And we have auctions that end multiple days a week, auctions that end on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Heritage is another one of them, right? And I was talking to a sales representative. I'm not going to tell him what company it is, but I was talking to a sales representative about this. And I was like, dude, like, there's only so many people in the hobby. There's only so much money that can be spent. We're like spreading our money way thin on this. That's what causes instability within the market. So, I don't know. But they make money on it. So they're not going to stop. You know what I mean? They don't care. Honestly, I don't think they care about card prices. I think they just care about collecting fees and turning things over. And they care about more people coming into the hobby and activity levels, but they don't really care if a card is really valuable or not, because they're going to make money no matter what. So anyways, that's a good comment there.
Good one. Here we go. Okay, he's looking. Andrew again. The sports card needs to be regulated. Trimming and altering cards to resell for 6 figures is fraud. Is that still going on, I guess? Is this still an issue?
Oh, yeah, it's always an issue. And, I don't even know who would regulate that kind of stuff. It's just like, it's always going to be a game of cat and mouse. You know what I mean? Between people who do that and the grading companies just trying to get away with it. I don't know if there's anything that can ever be done about that unless somebody builds a really cool like AI machine that can detect that stuff. But and maybe that will be something that happens. I know the guys at Tag are working on some technology like that, so maybe that will be something in the future.
We got next. James Lowe. Most kids growing up today are entitled.
This is funny. I'm not gonna.
Is that the millennials or the Gen Zers? I think it's the millennials, aren't they?
This is James Lowe from Austin, right? So
yes.
Okay. This is funny because we know his story. So this is funny. That's a great comment. I'm not going to comment on that, James, but I think that's hilarious that you say that. James has a family, so he's experienced. He's got kids. He knows.
They're millennials, I heard. Carlos, some kids nowadays are not as disciplined as we were growing up. No.
It's very different.
Dude, I would get the stink eye just if I didn't say yes, ma'am, or no, sir, to someone.
It's very simple. These kids, they should just like say, please, thank you, yes, sir, no, sir, be polite. They don't need to be like saying, this girl's got a fat ass. I like this girl. I like this bitch.
Yeah, they were talking like that. That kid, it was that kid. It was the same one. They get yelled at.
Yeah, so, these kids.
Not saying the guy should have yelled at the kid. I'm just saying it was just kind of we need
to get mama breaks on here. We need to get mama breaks to teach these kids some etiquette. You know what I mean?
How does she handle it when kids at the shows talk like that? Because I know she does those kids' days. I know the kids have talked like that in front of her.
Yeah.
And back in my day, the belt would have come off. It still will, Ed. My dad would still belt me.
You can't do that. You go to jail now.
I know I should take him to jail. Just kidding, Dad. Emmanuel, imagine being a kid nowadays and having internet in the palm of your hands, being able to see everything you want. It's crazy out there. Yeah. If I was a kid now, I don't think I'd get any homework done.
Yeah, that might be another reason. It's very easy for them to see everything online, and things are outrageous online. Like
everything online.
TikTok is outrageous to me. So I understand why these kids are the way they are because of the amount of content that is out there that they're consuming.
You're going to have to deal with that one day, Dan. I mean, how much content they can consume. Emmanuel, hey, Dan, how did your comics and Type 1 photographs do at the Dallas show?
So here's the thing. I didn't sell any of my comics this time. I don't think I brought the right comics. Type 1s were very interesting. I sold one.
Yeah, you did. At trade
patent Type 3 photo, actually. I like having Type 1s on there, but they take up a lot of room in the showcase.
They do.
Like I can only fit like 4 Type 1 photos in there. And comics are the same thing. But here's what I learned too.
Okay.
Comics do not travel well. Like I was so concerned
Really?
that my comics would get crushed and the acrylic would crack and everything like that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
They don't do that. They do not travel well. I need to have like a specialized.
Did it happen?
No,
Okay.
well, maybe it did. I think it did. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. I don't want to talk about it right now. But I need to have like a specialized backpack or something to hold these things because the comics do not travel well. Like Type 1, the PSA slab Type 1s, they're pretty solid, you know, and they're thinner. So I'm not worried about that. But the Beckett slabs and comic slabs do not travel well.
Yeah.
So I need to, and this is why it was really good for me to bring this inventory to Dallas, because it kind of was like a test run to when I go to National. I might not bring all that stuff to the National just because it's such a hassle to bring. I might just go Type 1 photos, PSA slabs, things like that. So I don't know.
Okay.
But appreciate the question.
Mark the Collector, I watched most of the trade night live. Then I was bored yesterday, so I watched some of the replay while sorting cards.
I appreciate that,
That's
Mark.
hilarious, Mark. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Mark.
That's
Mark
a lot of watching.
Mark is one of our biggest supporters. Member of the Curator Army, Merlin Maniac. He's one of the biggest supporters.
We met him at WrestleCon. Michael Acorn, are you guys going to next Dallas? Isn't it the week after Burbank? No, it's actually like a week and a half before the National in towards the end of July.
Yes. Burbank is the following month.
Yeah, but it'll be also in September again.
Yeah.
But it's always on NFL opening weekend, which I do not like. Dim's one. I don't see many channels talking about music, wrestling, Marvel cards. You guys are good in my book. Well, dude, thank you. That's our intention.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, buddy.
We've combined all of our elements together.
Yeah.
Carlos, it's sad that is what's happened when you become popular on social media. That's regarding the trolls.
Yeah,
and them hating you for
pumping
and dumping. Carlos, you guys are great for the hobby. Thanks, Carlos. Andrew, yeah, this is why I don't make any content. I don't want to meet any of these crazy people that would hate me because of my opinions on the internet. True. It can get scary. Donkeys. Lots of things to unpack when it comes to people who are always seeking negative content. The classic fix is touch grass. This is YouTube. Is not that serious. Yeah, but even in this world, people turn into seriousness.
Some new faces tonight. I see we got 45 people in the chat, so that's pretty cool. Appreciate that. Hey, guys, we got 45 people in the chat. Please leave 45 comments in our golden video that we posted on Friday night. That will help us out a lot with the sponsors. So please just take like 1 minute to do that. That would help us out tremendously. Thank you so much. But we appreciate all your support.
We would be able to do more of this, the whole world, if y'all do that for us.
And I'll speak to this. I don't want to get too deep in this, but I had another person make a really nasty comment to me, and it was like I saw right through that comment where they were talking about like I forget what it was exactly. Like they were talking about like it was like mother issues or something like that. Dad issues or mother issues or something, like parent issues.
Apparently that you had them, allegedly had them.
I don't know. I don't want to get too into detail about it, but it was.
I'm sure you'll tell me.
I saw through it as a cry for help. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I felt bad. I felt like kind of sorry for that person. So I think that like some of these people, they watch this stuff, they're easily triggered from some things that are happening in their lives. They get triggered, and then they feel like they have to lash out. You know what I mean? On it. So, and
it's this post-pandemic world, man.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think any of these people actually have a real beef with me or anybody else out there. I don't think they know me. I don't think they even watch my content.
They just want to get mad at somebody.
Yeah, I think they get triggered and they just want to act out on that because they feel like that person tells them to do it, so they have to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So my
we live in that kind of world now, unfortunately.
Yeah, my response to that would be it's just like watching political news every day where they're trying to trigger you to feel a certain way. Just like find something else, find another way to spend your time, find different content to consume that makes you feel, happy, laugh, some type of entertainment rather than upsetting you. You know what I mean? Within the context of the hobby. Like if you're in the hobby and you're watching stuff and you get triggered on it, it's time to find a different hobby, I think.
I agree, because this is supposed to be for fun to begin with.
Yeah. This is not like we're not talking politics. We're not talking about like mainstream finance. We're not, we're not talking about religion or any of that stuff.
This is supposed to be an escape.
Yes. And then you got these guys that all they want to do is just like critique and criticize and make videos about these things and talk about conspiracy theory and make fun of people and this and that. And it's just like
somehow QAnon's involved.
Like,
I don't know what,
What about the cards? What about the collections? What about the camaraderie and all this other stuff that we actually do this for? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's mainly why we go to Dallas, just to hang out with people and the camaraderie, just have a good time.
Yeah, and these idiots that make these videos about these things are trying to be like so toxic to the hobby, and then unfortunately they have followers, because these followers of theirs see them as an authority figure in the hobby, somebody who knows what he's talking about, and they take their word for it when they don't see anything else out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I'm coming back home on Sunday nights after Dallas Card Show back in LA. I'm crawling all fours. I can hardly open my eyes. My neck hurts. My back, my legs hurt. I haven't slept all week because of Mr. Minty snores like a mofo.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Yeah. I will. I enjoy every minute of it. It's worth every minute of all that.
Yeah.
I sleep for 24 hours when I come back. And I do it again. I'll do it in a minute because I have the best time in the world with all you guys.
Yeah. All right. We're almost getting there, guys. We're almost finishing up here. We got great comments. I don't want to get to all of them.
Zach, seeing you had K-pop cards graded. Yeah, those are the Blackpink. My kids has tons of them in a binder. Should we send them in to get graded? Is there a future in K-pop?
No.
Yes, listen to him.
They will not grade all of them. They only graded mine because they were Oreo, like a advertisement for Oreo cookies, and I petitioned them to do that. They will not.
Did you message them first about that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So do not just send it in without actually emailing customer service.
Because I have done that, and Dan knows, and they all got rejected. Right? You remember that?
Yes.
Carlos, Dan, what did you do with the painting of the ship battle from your early videos?
I still have it. I just moved it somewhere else. Moved it.
Yeah. Oh, is it in that house?
Yeah. No, not this house.
But he does. I don't think he knows that. I don't think Carlos knows, or he.
Oh, I'm in a different location, Carlos. That's why I'm in a different location right now. I'm not filming from my house. I'm in a. I'm in a safe house, guys. I'm in a safe house. I'm hiding from.
He's in the panic room.
I'm hiding from these guys that are trying to get me. Okay.
He's in his panic room.
I don't want to really hash this out, but I got to say this too because this really. You upset me. I was watching Sports Card Therapist's debrief where he talked about his video about me, and he was highlighting comments, right?
Yeah. And
as much as I love Rob as a person, he has this habit of saying, I don't co-sign on everything that this guy does, right? I don't just because I'm friends with this guy or I have him on my show, I don't co-sign on everything he says.
Okay.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, he was highlighting comments, and these comments of these people were talking shit about me. Okay. So I'm going to have to say that as much as I love Rob and what he does and his content, I also do not co-sign on these idiot comments that he was highlighting on his show, because some idiot made the comment saying, oh, I like Jeff, but Dan, I don't like Dan at all. And he's going to get what he deserves. What the hell does that mean? I'm gonna get.
Did you get the reply to that comment?
No, I watched it on the playback, and I'm not gonna engage.
Oh, he just highlighted. He didn't bring it up.
Like what? If I get hit by a car or something, I deserve that. If somebody robs me or hurts me, I deserve that because of the content I make. Come on, get that.
I didn't realize you're such a horrible person.
Get that bullshit out of here. And that's what I'm talking about. These idiots have these problems in their heads.
Oh my gosh!
Anyways,
wow.
I just got to say that.
All over cards. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Anyways.
I think there's bigger things in life to worry about than this hobby. Chatty Boy 45. Sell some of your old Star Wars cards and buy the new ones. Always feel like, damn, they figured it out, and I should have had more conviction on buying the stuff you love.
Mm-hmm.
Chatty Boy again. Thank you for opening up the world to Star Wars. You're welcome, Dan. Mr. TD, any pickups to show off?
My biggest pickup is I bought boxes of Disney 100 Years Weiss Schwarz, which I will be opening live on my
Oh,
channel.
you haven't opened them yet.
And I picked up that dark Ray Black Label
Yes.
1010 cards, which I'll show off later.
Yeah, I didn't show it. I got a Bret Hart green 5/5, and then I got some more of these cards. Dan, close your eyes.
Is that my girl? Is that
Tiffany Stratton and our other girl we met at WrestleCon, Nikita Lyons.
And Nikita?
Yes, these are KISS cards, and believe it or not, PSA will not grade them, but CSG will. They don't come grades, but look at there. Ooh.
Who's that?
Cover the kid's eyes, please.
Who's that?
Harley Cameron. She's in AEW.
Oh, boy.
But I have a...
Merlin's going to get me in trouble.
I'll be selling these at the National, folks.
Okay. Mr. TD says here, do it live. He wants us to do the live show. Do it live.
That sounds
you
like...
know that meme?
Yeah, John...
Bill O'Reilly?
Bill... Was it Bill Riley?
Yeah,
Bill O'Reilly?
He said, F it.
We'll do it live.
Yeah. We'll do it live. Fine. We'll do it live. That's so funny.
It was like on Inside Edition or something.
That clip on the next one.
They always play that on Howard Stern. Mr. TD, hate mail goes to Merlin and compliments go to TGC. Thanks a lot, Mr. TD. No more hate mail. Jordan, well, hello, gentlemen. And speaking of hate mail, Jordan's here.
Jordan. It's good to see you. It's good to see the Surly Hobby OG.
I know, right? Jordan, would be terrific to see the two of you open a box of Eminence and Flawless on the channel. Yeah, why don't you pay for it?
Can we open a GoFundMe to get that? If you guys want to
sponsor
a box of
the
NBA
box, Jordan,
Eminence,
we'll open it. You send it to us. We'll
start a
open it
Kickstarter.
up.
Jordan, you're in charge. Start a
Yes.
Kickstarter. If you can raise the funds, we will do it on the channel.
Jordan will be our treasurer. What we got? Donkeys. You're assuming the people who are making the decisions about increasing the prices also collect cards.
That's
LMAO.
True. It's kind of like movie executives, right? That make decisions about movies. They're not like really fans of movies. They're making business-minded decisions about that product, and sometimes it makes no sense at all to people like us. I think it's probably the same thing on those card manufacturers.
Yeah, most of the movie executives come from a law degree, not from a BFA and filmmaking degree. Mr. TD, do you guys ever buy into breaks? I know it's frowned upon by some. I've just bought some from my friends who do it. They ask if I want to go in, and I've done it maybe a handful of times ever. And I've actually done very well. I got very lucky, and I will keep it that way. So I don't need to keep getting into them. I'll just do it like twice a year.
I'm friends with breakers.
Yes.
Brian, Sunday League Investor, Daps, consider them friends in the hobby. And a lot of breakers follow me. I noticed because they all have break in their name. Something break, you know?
Yeah, like Cali breaks.
But I don't believe in breaks at all. I bought into 2 breaks for WWE Immaculate because I was super excited about that. I didn't get anything. I didn't even get a card.
What?
It was a complete waste of money. $250, complete waste of money.
You didn't get anything.
I would never buy into breaks at all unless it's for like a piece of content that I'm doing or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
Or just for a friend who's starting it out.
You know, I think like that's where the hobby is really focused. It seems like Fanatics, they're creating a marketplace for that. I don't know. Like,
no, I mean, you think so? Is it going to get better or worse with Fanatics taking over the break world?
Well, I mean, it's going to get worse in terms of how many they're going to be out there, but it's not going to be like a bad thing, but it's just going to be like more of it out there. But I don't know. I was thinking about this today too, and this is another thing that I want to talk about real quick here. Man, this is going on real long, guys. I appreciate everybody staying and watching this. I was supposed to go on a conference call. Some guy's gonna get real pissed at me. I was supposed to do a conference call, but
great.
I'd rather talk to you guys. I feel like breaking is so over exaggerated that it's stale. Like it's not a real representation of how people act in a hobby. I don't know. Just like it seems like, oh my God, everybody says the same catchphrases. Everybody acts a certain way. Everybody just does the same thing. Breaking is super stale to me. I think they got to change it up somehow for it to be entertaining. Otherwise, it just seems kind of played out to me. But that's just my opinion. You know, whatever. Okay, if I started a breaking company, I would say the same. I would say,
mean, the hell, they even have their own certain area at the National. The breaks.
yes,
people
yes,
do.
and it's just loud and obnoxious, and I
Yeah,
don't get it. It's never been my thing. I respect people that do it. If they make a business out of it, they make a lot of money. These guys, some of these breakers, they make more money than me, you combined. You
I
know
know.
what I mean?
A lot of them told me they quit their day jobs.
Yes. Mama Breaks. She used to be a
Yes,
teacher.
she quit her day
Her
job.
job to be a
Cali
breaker.
Elite Sports.
Yeah.
quit his day job.
Daps has
Quit his day job.
Daps created a huge business out of it, so we know people. Brian
Brian quit his day
doesn't
job.
even go to shows anymore. He doesn't even go to shows
You don't even
anymore.
see Brian anymore because he's too busy breaking.
It's just like they make so much money off of this stuff, but for entertainment value, I just think it's
He must be doing well because he even got engaged to his girlfriend.
Yeah, I think it's very stale. I hope that they do something else. I don't know.
Maybe we should be doing breaks now, Dan.
Yeah, I know we're gonna be between two breaks is our spinoff.
Oh gosh, no. Jay, Dan, did you end up getting that Audrey Hepburn cart?
No, I kind of regret that too, but that would have been a fun card to have.
How much did you want for it?
$200. I should have paid him. $200. I'm just too cheap. I'm just too cheap.
You are. Pancake Analytics, does the Dallas Card Show and Fan Expo Dallas ever overlap? I'm looking to do a Comic Con further west, and it's be cool to go to the Dallas show.
I don't know about that, but I would say the only Comic Con you should travel to, really, San Diego Comic Con. That's the one to go to.
That one, and then New York. Jordan, Dan is in witness protection. Yes,
yeah.
He's in a basement right now.
I'm hiding, guys.
Basement storm. It is hurricane weather. NorCal Emperor, sup fellas? What's up, buddy? NorCal Emperor again. You guys coming up to the Fairfield show in June? I'm probably not. Too much.
No, it's hard to get up there. It's far. It's in the middle of nowhere, and I'm scared to go. Honestly, I'm scared to go to NorCal. If you guys know, you know. I'm not going to explain why, but probably not.
No, we want to save up our stuff and our energy for the National. Carlos, another great live show. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Carlos.
Mr. TD, boxes are so expensive. Breaks are on the way for some. True.
My thought process has always been like in terms of odds. Like I just feel like I have better odds of getting something good if I buy the whole box versus a spot. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I'm to be honest, I'm not even sure how breaking works. I don't know how they divide up the spots, players, or whatever it is. I just know that I bought a Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley spot in the Immaculate Break, and I didn't get anything in an entire case. I was so upset.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We have that friend who he has the world record for most breaks, doing it every single day.
Diamond Hands Kelly, yeah.
Yep. Big rings. Jay, year-on-year comparison of Dallas Card Show. How was May 23 Dallas versus May 22 Dallas? I was at May 22 Dallas, but I couldn't make it to this one. Just trying to compare what I missed. Well, I wasn't there last May. You were. So what can you say?
It's better.
What was?
I made more money. May 22nd.
Last year was better?
Yeah, 2022 was better in terms of money that I made. But 2023 was better in terms of like bigger show and a lot of people, and vibe and excitement and all that stuff. So, but the sales, I can't really judge a show necessarily based on sales because it's so like dependent on the right person being there who wants my card, who has the, money to make the deal. So I can't really like say a show is good just because I make money. I kind of look at shows and I see, okay, are they professionally run? Do they have foot traffic? That's really big. Is there a good vibe where people are spending money, and doing deals? Is it a good experience for me as a vendor? That's how I kind of measure shows. And when it comes to that, Dallas is second to none. If we compare that show Dallas to the shows that we went to last year, where we went to Toronto and the way that we got stuck in the back, where we had cases that didn't even fit our cards,
That was this time last year almost.
Yeah, or when we went to Chicago Spectacular and there was no foot traffic, and
because everybody was at Midwest Monster.
Yes, or things like that. It's just like Dallas is king of the shows for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he clarified here with traffic and vibe comparison as opposed to sales. Yes, Dallas this year was better than last year for sure. Okay. All right. Okay. So that is our last comment of the show. Man, we had like 50 people in this chat. It's like double.
I know.
And you know what's funny? Our live stream, our 4-hour live stream has more views than our 1.5 hour live stream and our 15-minute edited video.
Well, you know what that tells you? They want to see what's going on live at that moment.
I think
what we should do next time is just have cameras on hats.
I think we have to go back to long form content. I think this is like the Joe Rogan style where it's like a 3-hour interview.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see this stuff.
I know, right?
I don't know. I thought you guys wanted short content, I don't know. Maybe YouTube is good for like long, and then Instagram, TikTok is good for short. I don't know. I don't know how any of this stuff works, but we appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Again, let's talk about our biggest sponsor, Goldin. We are having the one. Well, we're not doing a giveaway this week, but please support us. There are 47 people in this chat right now. So if you hung around till the end, please go to the video that we have on Saturday. I think there's a picture of Pele in the thumbnail, a picture of Pele and some other guys in that, but it's the one that we posted last Friday. Please comment in that, any comment you want. That will help us out to support our sponsors so that they see that people actually watch the show. Sometimes they don't believe us. Sometimes they think that there's just like 2 people that watch the show, which is me and Merlin on the playback. But no, I'm telling them we do have an audience. Okay, so please, if you guys want to see us continue to do this stuff, please just leave a comment in that video. That will help us out a lot. And that's pretty much it for this week. Remember, also subscribe to Merleworld Cards. Okay, Merleworld Cards. We're trying to get Merlin to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. If we do it, he will run naked at the next Dallas Card Show, guys. Okay,
dude, I got like 25 subscribers this
weekend. There we go. We're close. We're so close, guys.
The dial hadn't moved to the right in a long time, Dan.
Yeah, so we're getting close there, guys. And remember, we are on every Tuesday. Rain or shine, we are on every Tuesday. This is the best podcast. Oh, we're also in podcast format too, so you can download it on Sirius, whatever, and all that stuff.
It's on everything. Spotify is our biggest
iTunes, all platform. That stuff. So you guys can listen to us in the car. We are the best podcast in the hobby that nobody listens to. So please support us. We thank you guys so much. Anything else you want to say, Merlin?
No, just get ready for the Goldin when we'll post next Monday, and then we'll have another Between Two Slabs next Tuesday.
Yes. So thank you guys so much. We will see you next week.